विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम 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 नारायण नारायण। Okay. Noise. Still some noise going on. Oh. Now it is okay. Even now. Now it is okay. Even now. I have replugged it. Now okay. I change the mic. Yeah, when I touch these mics naturally it makes noise. Yeah, I think now it is okay. Om. So let us see a little bit in Sugama. Now it is okay, I suppose. Now the Bhashyakara's word was Asya anartha hetoh prahanaya atmaikatva vidya pratipattaye sarve vedantaha arabhyante. This first sentence, Adhyasa varnanam na shastra sutra sangatam iti shanka. Now Purvapakshi asks a question that the Adhyasa is not connected. And now I can't do anything because I am not a technical man, I don't know. Or this, I think. What to do? Or shall I put the mic here? Will it catch? I put the mic here only. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I speak like this. I removed the mic from my neck. I put it on the ground here. Now you can hear. When you touched the plugins spot, I think. Yeah, naturally it get touched. Now I have removed it because when I move, it naturally makes a noise. Okay, I'll put this YouTube mic, but that is a Facebook mic I have removed. Yeah. ఏమండి కృష్ణమూర్తి గారు, సత్యనారాయణ గారు, వినిపిస్తుందా చక్కగా? మైక్ తీసి ఇక్కడ పెట్టాను. మైక్ తీసి ఇక్కడ పెట్టాను, వినిపిస్తుందా? వినిపిస్తుంటే కొనసాగిస్తాను. సత్యనారాయణ గారు వినటం లేదు. ఓకే, ఎనీవే ఐ విల్ కంటిన్యూ. Then what else to do? There is no way. I have no other stand or anything like this. Any other stand? No. I'm looking for some stand. వినిపిస్తుంది కదా? ఓకే, సరే. ఎందుకంటే మైక్ ఇక్కడ గొంతుకు పెట్టలే, ఇక్కడ పెట్టాను, ఎదురుగా పెట్టాను. ఏదో చప్పుడు అవుతుంది అంటున్నారు, గరగర చప్పుడు అని. ఇక్కడ నా మీద ఉంటే ఇఫ్ ఐ హోల్డ్ ఇట్ ఆన్ మై బాడీ, ఆన్ దిస్ నెక్, when I move it makes noise. So I removed it and put it here. Here I put it. This one for YouTube I put it on my neck. Okay. Purupakshi says, anyway, let us see for today. Adhyasa you have described, but Adhyasa seems to have no connection with Upanishad as well as Brahma Sutras. Shastra means here the Upanishad is Vedanta Shastra and Brahma Sutra is Nyaya Shastra. Vedanta Shastra and Nyaya Shastra. Okay then. Okay. Yes. Sare andi. Sare, I am continuing. So yadetavat paryantam upavarnitam samsarasya mithyatvam tadetat natavat shastrartah. Purupakshi says that everything is adhyasa. Samsara means karta, bhokta, deha, indriya, manasu, the world, the entire world is an adhyasa. Is not true to Upanishads, Purupakshi says, because he has got his own way, his own view. Upanishad never says that Jagat is mithya, samsara is mithya, it never says. Upanishad says how to end samsara, how to come out of samsara, it teaches, but the samsara is there. Upanishad says that samsara is there, really there, but you are telling samsara is mithya. But he says Upanishad doesn't teach like that. Even Brahma Sutras also don't teach that samsara is mithya. Mithya means is due to adhyasa. Who says that? Purupakshi. Purupakshi says that Upanishad has no connection. Upanishad has no connection. Upanishad doesn't talk of adhyasa. That's what he says. So, why do you say? We may ask Purupakshi like this: why do you say that Upanishads don't talk of samsara is due to adhyasa? Is samsara is an adhyasta or samsara is mithya? He says, according to Upanishad, according to Purupakshi, सर्वस्यापि जगतः सत्य संकल्पेन परमेश्वरेण निर्मितत्व श्रवणात्. Upanishads say Bhagavan created the world. How he created? From his own sankalpa. God created from his own sankalpa. Since his same Upanishads say that Bhagavan is a satya sankalpa. Bhagavan is a satya sankalpa. Then Bhagavan made a sankalpa and created the world, and his sankalpa is a true sankalpa. Then, and out of that sankalpa, when he created the world, how can you say world will be mithya? See the Purupakshi's argument, you see. This seems to be Madhva's argument. Dvaitins. This seems to be their argument. So, samsara bandhasya tadantapatitvena satyatva avagamat. Samsara bandha, the bondage with samsara, is within the world, and the world is created by Ishvara. Ishvara with his sankalpa he created it, And the same Upanishad says that his sankalpa is a true sankalpa. Therefore, you cannot say that samsara is mithya. It is against Upanishad. This is Purvapakshi's argument. Okay, next. Next he says, this you are talking of Adhyasa is against Brahma Sutras also. Nachayam Sutrartaha. So this is not the, Adhyasa is not implied by the Upanishad mantras and is also not implied by the Brahma Sutras. Now what are the Brahma Sutras? He is giving as an example few sutras. Tat atrapi athato Brahma Jignasa. Now after, therefore, thereafter, therefore, Brahma Jignasa, inquiry into Brahman. Okay. Desire to know Brahman. Janma Adhyasya Yataha. The world of the birth and Srishti Sthiti Laya. The creation, sustenance and dissolution of the world is due to whom? That is Brahman. And that Brahman is Shastra Yonitvat. That Brahman is known only through Shastra. Iti Jagat Karanasyaiva Brahmanaha Shastra Pramanakatva Samsutranat. In these first three sutras of Brahma Sutra, first three sutras put together, they imply that Jagat is created and the Paramatma is the cause of the world. Cause means who is the maker of the world, and that Paramatma, that Paramatma is a maker of a world, is known only through Shastra. Paramatma is a maker of the world, is known through the Shastra. This is what even Brahma Sutras are telling. Therefore, Adhyasasya asansutranachya, neither in the Brahma Sutras nor in the Upanishadic mantras, Adhyasa is nowhere referred. Okay. Nacha Paramapurushartasya Brahmajnanaika Sadhyatva Vachanadeva Jnana Nibarhaniyasya Samsarasya Adhyastattvamapi Ukta Kalpamiti Yuktam. Okay. Siddhanti says, how do you say that? 50. This is 61. Okay. Yeah, we are discussing. Just a minute. I'm checking my... So in the 61st point, now Siddhanti may say, he is imagining, Purvapakshi is imagining, you may say, Adya Paramapurushartasya Brahmajnanaika Sadatva. Andre Paramapurushartha means the moksha, the highest goal of human life. The moksha is attainable by Brahmajnanaika Sadhyatva Vachana. Only by Brahmajnanam moksha is attainable. This is stated. This much I accept. Purvapakshi says this much is accepted. That by knowing Brahman alone, moksha is attained. This is stated both in Upanishads, both in Brahma Sutras, we accept. But from that alone, Jnana Nibarhaniyasya Samsarasya, andre when Upanishad and Brahma Sutras say that by Jnanam alone, moksha is attained, that shows that the samsara bandhanam goes away by Jnanam. What goes away by Jnanam is naturally Adhyasa alone, misunderstanding alone. See, Upanishads and Brahma Sutras say, Siddhanti is telling, Upanishads say and Brahma Sutras say that Brahma Jnanam alone is moksha sadhanam. If Brahma Jnanam alone is enough to give you moksha, then what can Brahma Jnanam do? It can remove avidya. What is that avidya? Adhyasa. Therefore, just by the statement of Upanishads and Brahma Sutra that Brahma Jnanam alone will give you moksha, from this the implication comes that Adhyasa or avidya, Adhyasa is avidya, and that is samsara karanam. So this much gets implied. Okay. Jnana Nibarhaniyasya Samsarasya Adhyastatvam. The samsara which can be eliminated by Jnanam alone will be inevitably be Adhyasa. Samsara, which can go away by only knowledge, will naturally mean that it is due to Adhyasa. So Adhyasa is implied, though verbally not stated, it is implied in it. This is what Siddhanti says. Purvapakshi says no. Because Satyasyapi Nigada Bandhadehe Prabhu Prasadad Nivritti Darshanat. He says, why do you want to say that samsara should be mithya alone, then only it can go away by jnanam? See, you Advaitins say samsara is due to adhyasa, that is a misunderstanding, and therefore it will go away only by jnanam. But he says, even if it is a real bandha, real bondage, because the bondage of an iron fetters, though real, is found to go away due to the grace of Ekandre, because even if the bondage is real, not mithya, not a misconception, not a misunderstanding, even if bondage is real, like the fetters, iron fetters tied to your hand, nigada bandha, that nigada means iron fetter in Sanskrit, nigada bandha dehe. Nigada bandha means tying the iron fetters to your hands. In those days they were tying, even now they do sometimes. When they catch a thief and carry him to a police station, they generally tie. So, Satyasyapi Nigada Bandhadehe Prabhu Prasadat Nivritti Darshanat. So, Nigada Bandha means tying with iron fetters. It is real, it is not imaginary. It is not a false notion that I am bound. Even if you are really bound, you can be liberated. What is there? Why do you want to imply that for removing samsara by jnanam, it has to be mithya jnanam, it has to be a false knowledge alone, wrongly thought out, wrongly imagined? You say samsara is wrongly imagined. This is an implication from the Upanishads. Purvapakshi says no. Even if the bondage is real, like the iron fetters are real, not imagined one. Similarly, even if bondage were real, nigada bandhadehe prabhu prasadan nivritti darshanat. It goes away by prabhu prasada, Bhagavan's prasada. By the grace of God, the bondage can go away even if it is real. Okay. Bandha vidvamsa lakshanayascha mukter bandha mityatva anapekshanat. And the moksha, which means bandha vidvamsa, breaking of bondage. Moksha means breaking of bondage. So that breaking of that moksha, which implies the breaking of bondage, need not imply that the bondage should be unreal. Bondage should be false, unreal, and imaginary. No, not necessary. Even if it is real, it can go away. Because God is so great. What do you think of God? God is so great. Now you see, you Advaitins think that bondage must be unreal, then only it can go away. If it were real, it can't go away. Oh my God, you Advaitins think that if bondage were real, nobody can remove. I tell you, even if it is a real bondage, God's grace is so much. What do you think of God? Is God like human being, like you and me? God is so great. His blessing is so great that you pray to Him by His grace. Even if the bondage really there, it will go away. Even if it really there, it will go away. Therefore, don't imagine that just because Upanishads talk of there is a bondage and it will go away. Upanishads only told this much. There is a bondage and it will go away by jnanam. And you start imagining that bondage is unreal. Your imagination, the implication which you are taking is too extreme, too far removed, far stretched. Your imagination, the implication is taken by you, and that your imagination is too much, Purvapakshi says. Unnecessarily you are going to the extent of calling it as an imagination, false and all that thing. It is real. Bondage is real. That's why, see, when you suffer from samsara, when you are suffering from sukha, dukkha, birth and death, you mean you are not born? You mean you are not dying? You mean you have no pain and pleasure and suffering, insult and honor and dishonor and all these things? Don't you have? We all have the suffering. They are real. We have a body. We are bound to the body. So samsara is real. But this real samsara will go away by the blessing of God. How great it is. They are so much moved by the compassion of Bhagavan that he can remove your real samsara. When God can remove real samsara and Upanishad says that it will go away, then why do we imagine that it is a false? Okay? Bandha vidvamsa lakshanayascha mukter bandha mityatva anapekshanat. Mukti need not be real. Just because Upanishads talk of bandha can be destroyed. Bondage can be destroyed. To be able to destroy the bondage, it need not be unreal. Even the real can be destroyed. This is what he means. Okay. Jnana matrena sakala bandha vinashe muktihi nanyadapekshate iti jnana samakalameva shariradini vritti prasangacha tasmat shastra. Tasmat shastra sutra asangatam idam adhyasa varnam. Suppose Purvapakshi last final conclusion, he says, okay, if you think, if the bondage was unreal as you think, and it will go away only by jnanam, that the body, mind, sense organ, everything goes away by just knowing that you are not the body. Just by knowing that you are not the body, body will go away. Oh my God, that doesn't happen. Bandha vinashe muktir nanyadapekshate. If you say, according to you, Advaitin, just by knowing that you are Brahman, the body, mind and sense organ world will go away, your bondage will go away. If you think like that, then what would happen? But as you gain the jnanam that Aham Brahmasmi, world should disappear, body should break away right now. Does it ever happen? Any Brahmajnani's body breaking, world breaking, have you ever seen? Like bomb blasting? Anybody who gains Brahmajnanam, instantly his body gets broken, the world gets broken, and then body has to get broken. Then only you will be liberated. Do you see ever such a thing happening that only by knowledge body getting broken? When you accept that the final release accrues on destruction of the entire bondage merely by knowledge, therefore the description of, the body etc. would disappear in the wake of knowledge. Then what happens? Body should disappear. Is it disappearing? It is not disappearing. Then your Advaitin's idea, doctrine, that only by jnanam it will go away is wrong. God's blessing, after the death of the body will go away and you will go to Vaikuntha, and that way you will get liberated. After the death of the body, you will become free from the body and you will go to Vaikuntha. But you say, right now, as you gain jnanam, instantly it will go away, you are telling. Do you mean to say that as soon as I know that I am Brahman, instantly body will disappear? That doesn't happen. Therefore, your talking of Adhyasa is irrelevant. You have written such a big book, all Adhyasa, but all this is waste. It is irrelevant. It doesn't exist in our life. Tasmat Shastra Sutra Asangatamidam Adhyasa Varnanam. Therefore, describing Adhyasa, teaching Adhyasa is unrelated to Upanishads as well as Brahma Sutra. Okay, this is what Purvapakshi concluded, 61st passage. Now the next passage, 62nd, Siddhanti replies. Siddhanti replies to him. What does he say? Tam etam shankam apakurvan adhyasa varnanasya sangati maha. Refuting this doubt, objection of Purvapakshi, Siddhanti answers, asya anarthaheto prahanaya sarve vedantaha arabhyante. This is what Bhashyakara told. He says, this alone is anartha hetu. What is anartha hetu? This adhyasa which we have described all these days, all these months, why months, year, more than a year. So all this adhyasa which we have described is the real cause of samsara. Only to remove this by Brahmajnanam, Upanishads have started. Brahma Sutra has started. This is what is clear. How? Asya anartha hetoh. This word meaning Swamiji is giving. Asya avidyakyasya adhyasasya. Asya means of this. This, what is this? Adhyasa, avidya. So far we have described. Anartha hetoh kriyakaraka phala bhoga abhiniveshadirupa samsara nidanasya. Anartha is samsara. In the form of kriya, karaka, phala, bhoga, karta, bhokta, pain, pleasure, time and all these things. This is samsara. This samsara, bhoga, abhiniveshadi samsaradi. Samsara nidanasya. Which is the cause of samsara. Okay, prahanaya, to eliminate it for good. Atyantika nivruttaya. Then atmaikatva vidya pratipattaya, to gain the knowledge of the Atman as one, non-dual. Sarve Vedanta arabhyante, all Upanishads begin. Okay, this is the word meaning. Now he says, Ayam abhisandhihi. This is the implication of Swami Shankaracharya's statement. What is that? Natavat shastra asangatihi. First Purvapakshi, we are refuting Purvapakshi as well as explaining Shankaracharya, two simultaneously happening. He is explaining Bhashyakara's words as a refutation of Purvapakshi's idea. He said Adhyasa is not related to Upanishads. Now he shows how Adhyasa is implied in the Upanishads. How do you say Adhyasa is no way related to Upanishad? Adhyasa is implied in all the Upanishadic statements. Adhyasa vidyayo ekatvena shastropadishtasyaiva adhyasasya atra varnanat. See, Adhyasa and Avidya are one. Misunderstanding is ignorance. Ignorance is misunderstanding. There is no ignorance other than misunderstanding. Okay. So, shastropadishtasyaiva adhyasasya atra varna. Therefore, the adhyasa which we have explained here, described here, is not something different. This is what is clearly Ayam abhisandhihi. I'll just check my notes also. Shastra Upadishtasyaiva Adhyasasya Varnana. Therefore, the Adhyasa described here is precisely what implied in the Shastras, in the Upanishads. How prasiddhantavat sarveshu vedanteshu vidya vidyayor vibhagavachanam drishyate atyanta viruddha swabhavayo. All Upanishads are talking about vidya, avidya, and they are opposite to each other. See, this is the important point here. How do you say that Adhyasa is implied in the Upanishads? Simple reason. Upanishads talk about ignorance and knowledge. Okay? Yes. Do you accept that? Yes, I accept that. They talk of ignorance and knowledge. And second point, they say the knowledge is such a knowledge which is opposite to ignorance. Opposite to ignorance means what? The knowledge as it rises, it destroys ignorance. See this point. Knowledge, Upanishads talk about vidya and avidya. Samsara is due to ignorance, and knowledge liberates you from that samsara. This is what all Upanishads talk about. But they also talk about it. Atyanta viruddha swabhavayoh. That avidya, vidya are mutually opposite to each other. That means when there is avidya, vidya is not there. That means when there is samsara, you are in ignorance. When the knowledge arises, ignorance ceases to be there, samsara ceases to be there. This point, that the knowledge alone can remove samsara and nothing more is required. And as you know that you are Brahman, you are free from samsara. These statements are found often in the Upanishads. You can see a disciple approaches Guru, and he wants to learn that. And as he learns, he says that, yes, I have become free. I have become free. Now I understand that I am Brahman. Now I have no more samsara. This is what they have been telling. Disciples have been telling, now I have become free. So by knowing alone, he became free. And Upanishad says that this avidya can go by knowledge alone. Now the question arises, what is that avidya which can go only by knowledge? What is that nature of avidya which can go only by knowledge? It is Adhyasa, it is a misunderstanding that can be corrected by right knowledge. That's all. Upanishads talk about both Vidya and Avidya. How do you say Upanishads do not talk about by only God's grace, samsara will go away? Where is that? Show me. Upanishads, all the Upanishads talk of Vidya, Avidya, Vidya, Avidya. Routinely they talk of. Now for sake of you, I am quoting some of the Upanishads, how they talk about Vidya, Avidya. Let us take Kathopanishad first. Duramete viparite vishuchi avidyaya cha vidyeti jnata. Kathopanishad says, avidya and vidya, ignorance and knowledge. That means misunderstanding and it's a correct knowledge. These two are duramete vishu viparite. Duram viparite means what? Extremely opposite to each other. Viparita, opposite to each other. Viparita is opposite to each other. They are duram viparite. See, Upanishad beautifully he says, duram viparite. They are extremely opposite to each other. What is that extremely opposite? When the knowledge arises, avidya cannot exist. Instantly it goes away. With the very rising of knowledge, there is no avidya. That's all. So extremely opposite to each other. And then Vishuchi. Second point is, see, Kathopanishad says beautifully, Duramete vipariti and Vishuchi. Duram viparite, extremely opposite to each other. Vishuchi means what? They take a person, whoever is, and they take you to different goals. Vishuchi means what? They take you to different destinations. Avidya, if you are under ignorance, you will be taken to one destination. That is samsara. Whereas if you know the truth, you are free from avidya and naturally you will be in a different destination. So Vishuchi, taking you to different destination, different directions. They take you totally in opposite direction. That means as you gain knowledge, you are no more samsari. Your samsara goes away and you are instantly free. So this Upanishadic mantra, Kathopanishad, this Upanishadic mantra, Kathopanishad, is clearly telling that Adhyasa, like in dream, Adhyasa is like a dream. As you wake up, Adhyasa means what? Misunderstanding. Misunderstanding means what? Being in a dream. Being in a dream is misunderstanding. Knowledge means what? Waking up from dream. So if you are in dream, you have a different experience. If you wake up, you have a different experience. Okay. If you wake up, you have a different experience. Therefore, Upanishads are talking of, Kathopanishad is talking of avidya, that is misunderstanding. You remain in a dream and you have a different life. As you wake up, then you have a different life. Vishuchi, Kathopanishad is openly telling. That means, that's why we discussed Adhyasa. So what is implied by the words of Kathopanishad or other Upanishads? We have discussed here, that's all. Okay, next. Ityadi shritibhyah tayoscha avidya shoka bhayadi karanam hatavya. First, vidya, avidya are opposite to each other, told. Second point, you see, shoka bhayadi karanatvat. Avidya is the cause of shoka and bhaya. Shoka is sorrow, bhaya is fear. This ignorance is the cause of your fear and sorrow. Fear and sorrow implies all samsara. See, vidya, avidya are opposite to each other. Once you get vidya, avidya will be destroyed with the previous quotation. Now the next quotation says, it is from Kenopanishad. Next quotation says, shoka, bhaya, sorrow and fear is due to avidya, and jnanam will remove that. Is clearly telling jnanam will remove samsara. Therefore, hatavya mumukshubhariti shravyate nachedi havedin mahati vinashtihi. He says, If you know the truth, it will liberate you. Iha ched avedit ata satyamasti. Kenopanishad says, Iha ched avedit ata satyamasti. If you know this truth here, right now, you will become free. Iha ched avedit ata satyamasti. As you know it, there is a truth for you. You are free from samsara. And if you don't know, Ihache nachedi havedin mahati vinashtihi. If you don't know, there is a great loss for you. There is only loss and nothing but loss, nothing but suffering. Next statement says, by ignorance you will miss a lot. By knowledge you have got all gain. Okay. This is the Keno Upanishad. Now the third Upanishad, Avidyaya mantare vartamanaha. So those who live in ignorance undergo samsara. Those who are in the ignorance, those who continue in the ignorance, they continue in the samsara. Next quotation says, Avidyaya mantare vartamanaha. Those who live in ignorance, Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamana. They don't try to come out of ignorance. They think that the state of ignorance alone is great, and we are doing a lot of work and we are attaining heaven and all that. We are doing work, we are doing pujas and all rituals, and then beliefs and all that. We have got dogmas, doctrines and all sorts of things. So we will go to heaven after the death and all these things. Those who think like that, Panditam manyamana, oh, we are highly learned, we know everything. Dandramyamana, they keep going in samsara from world to world, by birth and death. Again and again you keep getting birth and death. Paryanti mudhaha andhena ivaniyamana yathandaha. Like a blind man being led by another blind man. This is Kathopanishad. One blind man led by another blind man. We think that we know everything, yet we continue in the same ajnanam, same samsara. Another quotation, he says, Taittariya, Athatasya bhayam bhavati tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya. See, a person who doesn't know this truth, he has got a fear. Vidusho amanvanasya. Amanvanasya bhayam bhavati. This bhayam, this samsara bhayam exists for a person who doesn't know the truth. Upanishad is clearly telling ajnanam is the cause. See how many quotations I have given. One more quotation. Chandogya Upanishad. Soham bhagavat mantra videvasminatmavit. Soham bhagavat shochami. Narada goes to Sanat Kumara. Narada was a rishi, goes to Sanat Kumara and asks this question. I know many knowledges, many branches of knowledge. Karma kanda, rituals and so many branches of knowledge, sciences. So many I know. But in spite of knowing all the things, I feel that I know only bookish knowledge. I've got only book knowledge alone, theoretical knowledge alone. I don't understand the truth. Therefore, Soham Bhagava Shochami. O God, O Guruji, O God means O Venerable Guruji, in spite of knowing so many things, for not knowing Atma, I am suffering. I am in sorrow. I am in sorrows, I am suffering. That means for not knowing Atman, he is suffering. Mantra videvasmi, natu Atmavid. I know, I have got a bookish knowledge. I don't know the Atma. I don't have the intuition of Atma. Therefore I am suffering. He says clearly. Then, Sayota ekaikam upaste nasa veda akrusno hieshaha. Another thing is, one who knows all this world one by one. Why one by one means? Your knowledge is a limited knowledge. If you have a limited knowledge about the world, not the entire world. Entire world means knowing Brahman only. The entire world can be known by knowing the truth of the world. Knowing the entire world means knowing the truth of the world. The world can be known in two ways. World as a world, when you know, you keep knowing one by one object. When you know the world as a world, you know the one by one, many objects in the world. Another way is knowing the truth of the entire world. When you know the truth of the entire world, then you are free from samsara. He says, one who knows the world, the inner details of the world one by one, the contents of the world one by one, you will be ignorant alone. However number of objects you know, howsoever you know about the world within the world, it's atoms and all that is ignorance alone. Only when you know the truth of the world, the entire universe. What is the truth of the entire universe? Atma only. Atma itself is wrongly felt, wrongly misperceived is appearing as a world. The misperception of the Atma is called the world. Therefore, you go to the root of the world, the truth of the world, then that is a real knowledge. There, the samsara goes away. Therefore, Krishna, ityadi shrutibhyaha. So, from all these shrutis, shruti means shruti texts, Upanishadic texts so clearly say ignorance is the cause, misunderstanding is the cause of samsara, and jnanam will liberate you. Okay. Now avidya is the cause of samsara. That now Bhashyakara says tat prahanaya, to remove this avidya or ignorance, atmaikatva vidya pratipattaya. Two things. To remove your tat prahanaya, to remove this avidya, and atmaikatva vidya pratipattaya, to gain the knowledge of unity of Atman. Atma ekatva, unity of Atman. Now, even this is talked about in the Upanishads. Okay? Even the Jnanam is talked about in the Upanishads. How? Let us see. Ihacheda vedi data satyamasti. If you know the truth, right now you are liberated. Right now you are with the truth. You are in the truth. Then this is Kena Upanishad. Next quotation. Devam matva dhiro harsha shokau jahati. Those who know this Atma, harsha shokau jahati, he will be free from sorrow and worries and tensions. That means the knowing alone, the very knowing of the Atma liberates you from samsara. Another quotation. Etad yo veda nihitam guhayam so vidya granthim vikirati ha somya. Mundakopanishad says, O Somya, those who know this Atma, which is in your heart, what happened? Avidya granthi, the knot of avidya. Ignorance is a knot. Knot means a combination of two. Atma and Anatma combined together. So knot, K-N-O-T, it is a knot of avidya. It is a knot of avidya. Knot is in the form of Atma and Anatma combination, and it will be broken. It will be cut asunder. Vikirati means it breaks open. It separates them. Okay. That Vidya alone can do that. Vidya alone can liberate you from samsara. Next quotation. Anandam brahmano vidvan nabibeti kutaschaneti. One who knows the ananda nature of Atma, he will not be afraid of anything. He will be free from fear. Nabibeti kutaschana. There is nothing for him to fear, because the very knowing liberates you and makes you Ananda Swarupa. Tasmai, another quotation. Tasmai mridita kashayaya tamasapparan darshayati bhagavan Sanat Kumaraha. So Sanat Kumara, Guruji, the Guru Sanat Kumara teaches Narada, who has got a antakarana shuddhi. What is that? Tamasapparam param darshayati. He teaches the Atma. He teaches how to transcend samsara, how to transcend ignorance, how to be free from ignorance, he teaches. Sanat Kumara Guruji is teaching Narada how to be free from ignorance. That means how to get rid of ignorance. That means his goal is only to remove the ignorance, correct the misunderstanding. But that's what Adhyasa is. Okay. Sayesha neti netyatma bhayam vai janaka praptosi. Now even the Yajnavalkya teaches Janaka. He says neti neti atma. Atma is not this body, not mind, not sense organ, not time and space and mind and everything. You negate it. Then you remain the Atma. When you know that Atma, abhayam vai janaka praptosi. Janaka, you have attained. Janaka is the name of a king whom Yajnavalkya Rishi was teaching. So he says, Yajnavalkya teaches, while teaching Janaka, he says, O Janaka, as if you negate everything else, you stand as an Atma, you become free from fear. You become fearless. Abhayam vai janaka praptositi tatra yeyam avidya shruyate shrutyanteshu sa asmad adhyasadi athava adhyasadyatha varnitan navyatirichate. Therefore, the avidya that is talked about in all these Upanishads is not different from Adhyasa. is not different from what we have described in Adhyasa Bhashya. Okay? The Upanishads, the avidya which Upanishads talk about is not different from the Adhyasa which we have described here. Okay? Nahi ato atirikta kachida vidya vinivartya sambhavita asya anartha hetuhu. Now, you can't think of any other avidya. Means you can't think of an ignorance different from Adhyasa which can go away by knowledge. Tell me, what kind of ignorance can go away by knowledge? Only misunderstanding can go away by knowledge. Therefore, naho atirikta kachida vidya vinivartya sambhavita syanartha hetuhu drishta cha loke rajya sarpadi pratyaya rupa vidya bhayadyanartakari. Because we see in the world rajya jnana rupaya vidyaya vinivartyamana. So when you are under a mistake, that you mistake rope for snake, and you are suffering from that perception of the snake, that wrong perception of the snake will go away by right understanding of it as a rope. So what goes away? A misunderstanding. Misunderstanding of rope as a snake will go away by understanding it as a rope. Okay, therefore tat samanyat, therefore since it is similar to it, our samsara is also similar to that. Therefore ihapi atma vidyapi adhyasa rupinyeva bhavitum arhati. Therefore the ignorance of atma is similar to the misperception of snake, misperception of rope as a snake. Okay, so our samsara is also exactly similar to that you wrongly understand yourself to be samsari. And this misperception is removed. Vinivartyamana swayam bhavitum arhati nacha swayam prakashe pratyagatmani adhyaropita pramatrutvad dyanartha nirasa vyatirekena krityantaram vidyaya abhyuhitumapi shakyate. Now you see, Atma is a Swayam Prakasha. Swayam Prakasha means self-shining Atman. Pratyagatma. Your own self-Atma is self-shining because it is known to everybody. And in this thing, Adhyaropita Pramatrutva Dyanartha Nirasa Vyatirekena. Now what can Vidya do? Vidya can only negate your misunderstandings imposed upon you, falsely imagined upon you. Falsely imagined wrong thinking that I am an individual, I am subject to suffering, I am subject to birth and death and all these things, all this sense of individuality that I am undergoing, samsara, this thing is only a false imagination, wrongly thought of upon you. It's a purely misunderstanding. Therefore, you can't imagine anything else that jnana can do. What can jnana can do? Jnana can correct your misunderstandings. Because by knowing yourself what you are, all your false imaginations are dismissed, are disproven. All your false imaginations are disproven by knowing yourself as you are. By knowing yourself as you are, all your wrong imaginations about yourself are disproven. That's all jnanam can do. All that jnanam can do is only disprove, debunk, disprove your false thinking. Okay, adhyaropa dashayamapi swayam prakashatvad atmanah. That's because even when you think wrongly, you are still Advitiya Brahman. You are still non-dual Brahman. Even when you are thinking you are an individual, you are subject to pain and suffering and all, pain and pleasure and all that. Even while you are thinking that you are a samsari, in your inner core, you are free from samsara. You are already Mukta Purusha. Even during your misunderstanding, you are the same truth. That's the important thing. Therefore, knowing alone is enough. You just turn your attention to your reality, your real nature, you are already free. Therefore, your misunderstanding doesn't make any difference in your real nature. Misunderstanding is only a wrong perception. Wrong perception doesn't change the reality. Reality remains the same even while you are misunderstanding. Even while you think you are an individual, in your inner core you are non-individual consciousness. You are a non-dual infinite consciousness, even when there is a perception, misperception about yourself. Okay. Tasmat sarvesham vedantanam atmaikatva vidya pratipatyartham arambat. Therefore, all the Vedantas begin only to correct Adhyasa. What we have stated is perfectly correct. Now don't say that it is not connected to Upanishad. In fact, Upanishads talk about only this. Adhyasa vyatirekena cha avidyayaha asambhavitatvat. Therefore, you cannot imagine ignorance, any ignorance other than Adhyasa, other than misunderstanding. Adhyasa varnanam shastra sangatameva. Therefore, describing Adhyasa here is agreeing, is true to Upanishads, is correctly true to the Upanishads. Okay. Another paragraph is there. I think time is up. We'll discuss another thing. Now, from the Bhashyakara's quotation, Swamiji says in the next paragraph, in the 6th, he says, elsewhere also Bhashyakara says, there is no avidya other than Adhyasa. All the kinds of ignorances, all the various contexts of ignorance you have in your life, all of them are reduced to one misunderstanding alone. So he's talking how many kinds of Adhyasa, how many kinds of ignorances, and all those ignorances are reduced to one, that is your misunderstanding. Okay? That we'll see in the next class. And the next para he says, how it is connected to Brahma Sutras also. Purvapakshi told, okay, 2 points. Purvapakshi told 3 points. One is, Adhyasa is not implied in the Upanishads. That we have replied. Adhyasa is not implied in Brahma Sutras. That we have to reply. And third point he told, even if bondage is real, it will go away by the blessing of God, by the grace of God. So you don't need jnanam. And therefore, bandha is not false. Bondage is not false, it is real. How bondage, if bondage was real, what would be the problem? Is it really bondage was real? Not a misunderstanding? Now Swamiji will reply to those Dvaitins who imagine that bandha is real. Then next, Atmaikatva Vidya Pratipattaye. Oh, I think point by point, how Swamiji is discussing, amazing. Anyway, we will see. I think it will not take much time. Maybe, I think within one month probably we'll finish. A few points are there, may take a little longer time. Some 1 or 2 good points, but otherwise it is more of a conclusion. In the conclusion, 1 or 2 points are very good points. Those points we will concentrate. Other things are only simple, only logical points, an idea. We will just finish them fast. Okay. Today we have covered how much? Oh, 2 pages we have covered. Oh, yeah, if at this rate we go, we will finish it in 1 month. Okay. I think next we'll sit on next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat.